It's been a glorious day here in Christchurch, and no doubt there'll be a few stars in the sky tonight, as well as on the field. Yes, indeed, there's firepower on both sides. The stage is set for these two outstanding teams to go head-to-head. Canterbury flags are out. You just see a slight breeze going across the field, and that's been here over the last couple of weeks. And so the Canterbury players, they know how to handle that. Will the Wellington players know how to handle that? With the brains trust of the Canterbury side, Robbie Deans and Steve Hansen. And yes, the true colours are out in force tonight, the colours of Wellington. And there they are. There are a number of fans here for Wellington supporting their side. They'll certainly be outnumbered by black and red. Look at that, what a picture this ground is tonight. The Hadley stand in the background, and it is a full house here tonight. Good conditions there, the Wellingtonians looking on. Will it be their year? So close last year, but just not enough. Auckland is too good. Go Ben, you sexy thing. Yes, that's reference to Ben Blair. And there's Norm Hewitt. Dave Rennie, the coach. Big Norm. Such a powerful man for this Wellington side. Here he comes, leading them out. Noki Afiaki in behind. Morne Fundamurva there as well. Look at that. Nathan Hamlin, age 4, who's a very good personal friend of Norm Hewitt, has leukemia. He's got leukemia when he was 4. He's aged 8 now. It's lovely to see Big Norm and Nathan, who have a very strong friendship. Norm helping him out. Lovely to see rugby players giving back and helping these young kids, particularly those with an illness like young Nathan has. So the stage is set here at Jade Stadium. It's time to join our commentary team of Murray Mexted and Grant Nisbet.
Thank you, Coops. Well, the big talking point in the last couple of days has been Umanga or Iramia at centre. The job has gone to Tana Umanga with Brad Fleming on the right wing. The forward pack that took Auckland apart last week remains intact, but the youngsters like Collins and So'oialo will need to take another step up. 9 of these players started in last season's Air New Zealand First Division Grand Final, including the captain, Norm Hewitt, in the number 13 jersey, and I guess Murray Mexted, that's not really a surprise.
Well, I'm delighted, quite frankly, because it actually indicates that Wellington have decided to throw everything they've got at Canterbury, and that's what they need to do, actually, to have any chance of beating this wonderful Canterbury side here in Christchurch.
One of the many match winners in this Wellington lineup, Big Jonah Lomu. Opportunity too to welcome in our international viewers, particularly those in North America. For the first time, we're live into North America with Fox Sports World, also Super Sport Mnet in South Africa. Special welcome to the New Zealand cricket team, no doubt watching. Star Sport in Asia, B-Sky B in Britain, Fox Sport Australia throughout the Pacific Islands as the local heroes take the park. Canterbury field the same side that got them home last week, with one exception. Greg Feek makes his first start of the NPC season in place of Dave Hewitt. It's a team with 12 All Blacks in the starting lineup, and those who are not, Blair, Bunambaka and Broomhall, have been standout players this season, emphasising the depth in the squad, and the captain is Daryl Gibson.
Incredibly efficient unit, resilience and success.
Whether you're watching this game in London, Sydney, Apia, Johannesburg, Los Angeles, Hong Kong, or throughout New Zealand, welcome to Jade Stadium. And this is the finale of the first division of the New Zealand NPC in the year 2000. The referee will be Paul Honus from Waikato, assisted on the touchlines by Paddy O'Brien and Steve Walsh. And all is in readiness for what should be a cracking final. The All Black captain, Todd Blackadder.
Well, hasn't he just proved a point to everybody in this country? Leadership, what a significant part of the game. It's a team game, and he's truly a great leader.
Greg Feek, his first start in the Air New Zealand NPC this season. All in readiness. And Paul Honus says time on. We're underway at Jade Stadium in the final for the year 2000. And Merton starts with a powerful punt downfield, taken in by So'ealo, one of the young side row forwards in the Wellington side. Tipped back on the Wellington team, but it's into the hands of Justin Marshall. Just near the 22. Marshall, of course, in the middle of the ruck. So the pass made by Norm Maxwell. Back again for Mertens. This time it's Cullen waiting back, looking to counter-attack as he so often does. Lobs it into a gap. Marshall can't hang on. And offside against a couple of the Wellington players.
Pretty fundamental ruling that, outside the 10-metre circle. Means you're onside. They were clearly inside that. Interesting to see Wellington not counter-attacking from those long kicks of Mertens. In previous matches, of course, that's all they're looking to do is counter-attack. Cullen, Lomu, Fleming, Umanga. So natural for them to do so, of course. So we saw So'ealo kicking first, and then next, the unusual side of Christian Cullen kicking ahead.
First line out. Good throw by Mark Hammett, finds Reuben Thorne. Placed there for Marshall. Merton shifting it on quickly. First man up there is Kupu Vanisi. Referee's called it some more, but it appears to be on the ground. And yes, it's a turnover. And Kupu Vanisi, first man on the spot.
They look so alike, these two loose forwards, of course, So'ealo and Vanisi. But I think it's great when the referee calls out whether it is a maul or a ruck, and he clearly yelled out maul, which meant it's use it or lose it. They lost it, Canterbury. Wellington ball, good attacking opportunity. The backs are split both sides.
First scrum of the match.
Come up, fellas.
And this is going to be an area of real interest. Kevin Yates across on the far side against Greg Somerville. And Morne Fundamerva on this near side against Greg Feek. Let's quickly go sideline to Greg Cooper.
Yes, well, I can tell you down here the atmosphere is outstanding. A packed terrace and a packed grandstand. But interesting before, when Canterbury had Broomhall and Robertson out in the backs, allowing So'ealo and also Collins to be there, and Kupu Vanisi. So they got to the breakdown quick because of that.
See, they're fired up all right. Hammett looked like he was going to have a go at the referee then.
Not back 10 metres, Norm Maxwell, so he's playing advantage as Yates shifts it on to Collins. And they'll take another free kick.
So fairly clear Wellington's tactics are to play the game inside the Canterbury half.
Hewitt takes it up. And now it's across to Holwell. Umanga playing in the centres. And the first penalty against Canterbury in the match is in a kickable position for David Holwell, and it's against Canterbury for diving in over the top.
I think one of the reasons that Wellington's so aware of playing inside the Canterbury half is because they've conceded more penalties than any other team in the competition, of course, and often in a high-pressured match, the beginning of the game, the referee is also under a little bit of heat, and quite often there are penalties in the first 5 minutes or so. So I guess that was the reason they kicked ahead.
That's fine.
And then they retained possession from the two indirect penalties, and now the opportunity to goal for David Holwell, who of course is, he's number 2 really, in the NPC this year. And his the player, of course, is number 1, is Ben Blair, who's in this team here, the Canterbury side.
Murray, just an update from the sideline there. The flag's up high and blowing across the field, so it's a right to left fade, but it's not that strong, so really Hole will be aiming on just on the inside of that right hand upright. He doesn't tend to bend it much, and he'll be looking to land this first important goal.
Pretty good looking nudge from Holwell. That's a real confidence booster for the goal kicker, and Wellington take the early lead.
There's a handful of yellow and black in this crowd in comparison, of course, to the locals. The swarm of red and black.
Stay here! Cook it up, pull ball!
Lomu Iramia is sure to see some action at some stage. Mertens with a very good kick, just managed to get it the 10 metres, but Vanisi was first man there. There it is for Jason Spice. Umanga nudging into the gap. Collins is up there, and it's across the touchline.
Probably not what Umanga was looking for. Now it gives Canterbury an opportunity to get out of territory. What an impressive lineup on the forwards here. 7 All Black forwards in this 8 of Canterbury's.
Mark Hammett, first throw was a good one, and that one's not quite so flash. Marshall put under a lot of pressure. Mertens under extreme pressure from Vanisi. Good effort here by Gibson, but he's fired it away, and Spice brings it out. And a couple of knock-ons there, and the first one by Canterbury.
So these scrums are so important, particularly early. So Maxwell, just I think Waller got one hand to the ball, that was all.
And I can tell you, just an interesting move on sideline here. Lomu's changed wings, so let's have a look to see what they do here.
Collins sends it left. O'Halloran pushes through. Lomu's coming quickly. He's got the bounce, and Wellington get the first try. What a kick from Jason O'Halloran.
And what a start for Wellington. Well, it's been the hallmark of their style this year. They seem to score tries effortlessly, and that was just another. It looked like it was a rehearsal of training. The perfect little kick from Jason O'Halloran. How constructive is he? And the perfect bounce, it's almost like it was scripted.
He got the opening try at Eden Park in the semi-final, and he's done it again, Jonah Lomu, but set up brilliantly by Jason O'Halloran.
Yes, they're certainly thinking down here, because they've been chopping and changing even in the early stages here. 1 minute you've got Fleming on one wing, Lomu on the other, so they're just trying to upset this structured Wellington or Canterbury side, and doing it very well and executing it well at the same time.
And of course, Coops, they did it during the week also by not naming whether it was Iramia or Umanga who was playing it at centre, so they're asking the question of Canterbury.
This is a great kick. David Holwell adds the extra 2, and Wellington have come up with a great start in the final to lead by 10-0.
So it was seemingly a simple move from the scrum, but very clever, because Jason Spice ran to the right to draw the defence, and number 8 Jerry Collins just flicked it out. O'Halloran and Lomu did the rest.
Play on!
Ball is reclaimed by Wellington. They've denied Canterbury the ball so far. Ben Blair waits, and they're coming down on him. Holwell first man there.
Red 7, binding in front.
And that's against Scott Robertson.
You're binding in front of the ball carrier, Reds. Okay, you must come from behind.
So obviously a ploy also from Wellington. The kick, the up and under for Ben Blair. Remember, he's very young and new to this level of competition, this level of intensity. He caught the ball well. Tied up by Jerry Collins, spun around so he couldn't release the ball.
Yes, you can see Scott Robertson was the man. He just got in between. He went in from an offside position. But Canterbury are not doing a lot wrong at present. It's just that Wellington are doing everything right, playing the game well, denying Canterbury possession, and putting the pressure right back on. It was a good kick, contested, and so yeah, Wellington have scripted it well to start with.
And it's the same old story, Coops, isn't it? If you don't have the ball, you can't score tries or score points, and simply been Wellington possession since the game started.
And the other thing, Murray, is when you've got the ball, you've got to do the right thing with it, and that's exactly what Wellington are doing, particularly in the pressure stages early in a tight game like this.
Holwell, very similar to the first penalty attempt that he made, and he's judged it beautifully again. 13 points to 0.
Well, that is a huge lead at this stage in the game. So I would say that it is a stunned Canterbury crowd out there.
Yeah, I can vouch for that.
The sort of start that Wellington made against Auckland last week. Mertens again goes short, looking to regain it. They've got some possession now, Canterbury, which has been rare for them so far in the game. Mertens, Ben Blair's coming smartly, ball is loose, and it is covered by Jason Spice, and Canterbury look dangerous the first time they get an opportunity.
So it was a great little chip kick, wasn't it? Absolutely perfect. Desperate defence by Wellington. Good to see a number of players back in support.
Holwell. Down as far as Caleb Ralph. Support's there from Maxwell. Now Broomhall, who's had an outstanding debut season for Canterbury in the NPC. Mertens looks on the inside. Vernon Barker. Danger man if he can get into the open. Marshall off to Mertens. Mayerhofer to Broomhall. Got an advantage here Canterbury's way. Marshall looking to probe. Still there on the Canterbury side for Blair to spin it wide to Mertens. And back to the original penalty.
Tackle okay, Steve? Okay, yeah.
So Canterbury showing a little bit of their control and skill and
holding on to the tackle.
Potential try-scoring or point-scoring ability. Keeping hold of possession, setting up attack after attack.
Wasn't an explosive play by Sam Broomhall, I think it was, Murray, just going through the gap and showing his great array of skills. Important, isn't it, number 8, to have that power, whether it's off the base of the scrum or with the ball in hand.
And he's playing as though he's been in the role for years, where he's he's a man from Canterbury country who's just arrived, part of the development program of Canterbury Rugby. He's a very promising footballer. I think each game I watch he gets better and better. He's fitting in so well with Robertson and Reuben Thorne. What a bonus for a young number 8 to come in with an opportunity like that, to have both loose forwards being All Blacks. Scott Robertson also, I think, is developing. And this man, of course, he's had a huge NPC, Ben Blair.
David Holwell has taken the lead in that race, but you can see Ben Blair poised right in behind him. And Simon Porter and Mano Flutie will go head-to-head tomorrow in Oamaru. First chance tonight for Ben Blair, and he's on target too.
Well, Ben Blair shows he's a man of the moment also. Just imagine the pressure, appreciating that Holwell has goaled successfully prior to that. The first opportunity Blair got, he nailed it.
Norm Maxwell waits.
Somerville, his minder, right behind him.
Holwell down as far as Mertens. Waiting back again is So'oialo. This time they do bring it back. Smashes his way past a couple, the young 19-year-old. Now they get it wide for Holwell. The kicking, it continues. This one just a little shallow though. And it's there for Mark Hammett. Justin Marshall. Stopped by Collins, and the referee says that's high.
High tackle.
Jerry Collins shaking his head. Well, it may have been marginally high, but just have a look at it. High and slid down legitimately around the waist, so I guess if you're looking for a reason to blow the whistle, you can do so. What a run from So'oialo.
Yeah, Jerry Collins, he's a well-disciplined sort of a player, and he wouldn't normally go that high, but certainly high indeed, and Marshall feeling the effects.
Canterbury reserve bench, one of those players, Dallas Seymour, played in the final for Wellington last year against Auckland. Plenty of depth there for Canterbury. Well used too by Robbie Deans throughout the season. Justin Marshall taking a fairly heavy knock there, but he's okay.
So Canterbury.
Merton's kick is not out. Well, that's poor from the All Black. First 5-8 is sent downtown again by Christian Cullen. Now Broomhall. Got through the first one okay. Brought it back almost to halfway. It's there for Marshall again. To Reuben Thorne. Mertens. Mark Meyerhoffler across on the far side. Getting a lot more ball now, Canterbury. Todd Blackadder.
Good ball security.
Marshall again. Reuben Thorne. Again, So'oialo goes a little bit high, but that was a legitimate tackle. Again, Blackadder standing in at first 5-8. Handed back by Greg Somerville. Now Greg Feek wrestling his way down towards the 22s. They're still 6 or 7 metres short of it. And the Canterbury players dive it over the top of Greg Feek.
10, please.
Well, of course, that's the name of the Canterbury game, is dominating when they have the ball in hand, retaining it, moving it to Mertens to call the tune, to design the moves, to allow the game to unfold. I was very surprised, actually, when Canterbury got the penalty and they were awarded Mertens was kicking down the touchline, and I expected him to find touch very close to the goal line and have a real crack at the goal line.
Big name on the bench, Alama Iramia, right there in the foreground. The last time we'll see him playing first-class rugby in New Zealand. Great work by Maxwell. Tipped it off to Blackadder on a Wellington throw as Marshall sends off to Mertens. Screws off the boot a little. Cullen has it covered inside the 22. May look to counter-attack again. The little kick. Back goes Caleb Roth. He's fired it in field, but he's given it away. It's all over the place here. Jason O'Halloran had to tidy up, and O'Halloran makes the burst to Fleming. Spice is there. He's got support from Vanisi, and this time the touch judge has the flag up. Well, some of the players felt the ball was in touch, and they stopped for a moment.
Wellington team are full of runners. I guess that was the suggestion there, but he was quite okay.
Canterbury take it quickly. Marshall pumps it away downfield. Nobody home back there. In fact, Howell has to get back. Gets smacked in a tackle, but he got it away. Now Mertens sends it off to Blair. Knocked on by Vernon Barker. Canterbury relishing the wide open spaces there. But there was some big defence coming across.
Well, of course, it was a counter-attack opportunity. Mertens understood it, so he opened it up, put Blair away on the outside. Yes, the defence was there, but it was a little thin, I guess.
Yes, but when the players are lining up, particularly the Wellington players, when they're lining up these Cantabrians, they are really throwing everything at them. So Canterbury must make sure they don't set themselves up to be hit, because the Wellington boys are ready to hit.
So Lomu out behind the back line here. There's nobody on the short side at all.
No binding. 10, please.
So the call was for Wellington's loose head. Yates not binding. Of course, Kevin Yates, former English international prop, having a good NPC. He was dropped actually halfway through. He's come back with a vengeance.
Yes, he played a couple of test matches for England. Andrew Mertens, well, he hasn't had a kick at goal for quite some weeks. As you can see over there in the southwest corner of Jade Stadium, they've already started to bowl over the old embankment. And they've got big plans for this place.
Well, $40 million upgrade starting right now.
Just those 15 points in the NPC so far this season. Ben Blair's done the majority of goal kicking. Mertens has this light breeze behind him. Thumps it hard. What a kick.
I'm just watching the Canterbury supporters in front of the commentary position. They are jumping up and down. Absolute delight on their faces.
And it's so important, is it, in the big games that the key players step up to the mark, and there was one of them, Andrew Mertens, landing that very big and important goal.
Well, it's so interesting that Mertens took that kick too. The last couple of 50-metre penalties were taken by Ben Blair last week.
Howell goes a little shorter this time, and it's taken down by Maxwell. Charged by Dion Waller.
He's had a big NPC, Waller too. He's great in the air, this man. Been very strong in the line-outs. He's also given away a lot of penalties though.
Just lurking there, ready to strike.
Yes, he is a bit of a lurker, actually, Dion Waller. But he's been involved in a lot of open play rugby, which hasn't been a characteristic of his before this year. So he's come on strongly.
Nicely dragged down again by Maxwell. Wellington contesting every line out. Referee playing an advantage here, and looks like there will be one too. Goes back though.
It's fairly interesting the way this game is unfolding.
Keep it up, please. Thank you.
Both teams have kicked the ball 8 times, which is a lot. The style of rugby today that we're finding, normally the ball is kept in hand, possession is retained. So both teams are mindful, I guess, of where they are on the field.
It's interesting though seeing Canterbury starting to get their hands on the ball and able to dictate play more. So they learnt the lesson, don't give the ball to Wellington.
Maxwell couldn't get that one. Afiaki. Now it's Van der Merwe. Straight at Andrew Mertens. Cleared away by Spice for Holwell. Doing a fair bit of kicking. Cleverly done by Ben Blair. Confronted by Jonah Lomu. And dragged down by the loose forwards. And it's an advantage Wellington's way. There's an example of the loose forwards in action. Brad Fleming.
Good turnover by Canterbury, Ruben Thorne, I think.
So Canterbury in possession.
No advantage, lost forward.
And there was no advantage there. The ball lost forward by Wellington. Well, some incredibly good loose forward play there by Kupu Vanisi.
Well, Ben Blair beat Jonah Lomu and then was nailed by Vanisi.
Nice and close, fellas. We're crouching hold. Wait for the call. No lock. Just wait.
Young
Just
Ben
wait.
Blair, formerly from the West Coast, now of course the development program of Canterbury Rugby Union.
Marshall. Mertens. Prodigious kick by Andrew Mertens. Sending Cullen right down into the corner.
Come out, White. Come out. Hold it, hold it.
He gets some meat behind that one too. Now Mertens looking to open up.
Well, here we are, Jonah. Here's your moment.
Got it easily. Then hands it off almost to Vinabaka.
Look on. Look on, fellas. Ball in. Thanks, Benny.
Got the call from Paddy O'Brien, who saw a knock on in there.
Well, Jonah leaps up, takes it very comfortably, holds up in the tackle. Ben Blair hangs on for dear life. And then Jonah gives it to the most dangerous guy on the field. Well, it's a big statement that. He's not the most dangerous guy on the field, but he's a dynamic player, ball in hand, out in the open. Fijian 7-star, sensational in the sevens field. This is Zanoki Afiaki, who's had a consistent year for Wellington. very competitive player. Spent a bit of time in the sin bin.
Yes, and he's had a good NPC, hasn't he? Remember the neck injury he sustained, I think it was against Northland earlier in the competition, bounced back a week or so later. So he is certainly a workhorse in that tight five for Wellington.
Here we are, here guys.
So territory is heavily in favour of Wellington. I find it very hard to believe that statistic, 28%, 72. But I guess the last 10 minutes or so, Canterbury really have dominated the ball.
Engage. Up, up. That's good, that's better. Use it. Cross forward. Lock on.
Well, Canterbury cleverly screwed the scrum on Wellington, put them under pressure.
It's another thing that has evolved during this NPC is the use of the twisting scrum to confuse the attacking side.
Now there's pressure on Canterbury as Marshall just gets it away to Mertens, who slams it away downfield. The bounce is for Cullen. Gets good support from Umaga, and Holwell has to duck back as Wellington trapped right on their own goal line. Getting players back though.
Stay back, Red.
Brad Fleming hands it back, and Spice makes the clearance.
So big pressure from Canterbury on the Wellington line. It was a fantastic kick by Andrew Mertens over the top of Cullen, and it sat high like a rugby ball tends to do on occasions. Let's have a little look at it. It's bad ball too. He just made the most of it, Andrew Mertens. Over the top, and look at it sit up. Those are the ones that every fullback hates. Willem Barker did his job. Umaga looked like he was going to get out of trouble and lost his feet, and it was a real scramble.
Just an update, Robertson and Broomhall out in the back line, the Canterbury move that they pulled.
Going short side with Justin Marshall. Norm Maxwell goes in at halfback, delivers off to Mertens. Now they shovel it wide for Meyerhoffler. Robertson right in centre field. Reuben Thorne getting all the possession they need at the moment, Canterbury. Dug out by Gibson. Again short to Broomhall. Burst out of the first one as they make it inside the 22.
Maxwell coming into halfback again. Did you see the last pass?
Mertens shifts it wide for Caleb Ralph. Umaga has him.
It's become such an important, significant area in the game as numbers to the ball again. It's good to see that return.
Come out, come out.
And have a little look at this. There's three Wellington players in there instantly trying to get the ball, all on their feet, all legitimately positioned. Over the top came Norman Maxwell. And there's a little, how you getting on there, Anaki?
Okay, you must monitor your own players. That's all I'm asking. All right. Just for
Well,
holding
that's
on.
of course the new rule where if you drive in, it's fine to drive in, but you've got to be driving inbound to one of your own players, of course.
Two fiery individuals, the two number 5s, Afiaki and Maxwell, coming together.
Well, not a great distance, but Wellington retained the throw.
Found Dion Waller this time, does Norm Hewitt.
So Wellington putting the drive on through the centre. Pretty efficient too, retaining possession.
Again they go with a kick. Mertens waiting for it, Holwell goes up and Holwell grabbed it brilliantly. And away goes Vanisi again, 10 out from the 22. Hewitt slings it wide. Holwell. Collins for Cullen, getting up for the first time. Umaga can't find his support, but Cullen gets it back. Now there's danger for Canterbury. Here comes Cullen. Afiaki! And that's an outstanding try.
Well, I must confess, I found myself punching the air in the commentary position. But what a great try. Wonderful try. And Inoki Afiaki with one man in front of him is always going to be able to break that tackle. Umaga sensational the way he released the ball. I thought Canterbury had recovered it. Cullen just took off like he loves to do, and he drew the defence across. The cut with Afiaki knocked Marshall aside and drove over.
Yes, when Cullen decided to go that way, you always knew there was going to be danger. He's got the speed, and Afiaki does it well. He can play loose forward. He decided, I'll run a different line. Didn't he do well?
Well, of course, he started his rugby as a number 8, played number 8 right through his young years in Batoni, around the Batoni area, and played a bit of sevens rugby as well, and latterly, as the game has become more mobile, he's been converted to a lock.
Bang on again. Wellington open it up to a 14-point lead on the back of the Inoki Afiaki try, set up by Christian Cullen.
Well, there were 2 cuts there because Brad Fleming cut earlier on Cullen and drew nobody.
Mertens. Referee playing advantage here, knocked on by a Canterbury player.
So Jonah hasn't had a lot of ball yet.
He swapped. That shot there showed him on the other wing. He swapped side, and now he's actually marking Ben Blair because Andrew Mertens has dropped back to fullback. So both sides playing the guessing game, moving the players around and trying to gain an advantage.
Come up, fellas.
And what will they do from here, Coops? Interesting position, isn't it?
Well, it's the whole I think will be used, and to put it high, he may try and put the pressure back onto Mertens, but just look for David Hole to dictate play here.
No question that Mertens has gone back in a reaction to the way Wellington are playing this.
Yes. I wonder whether Wellington, perhaps for the first 20 minutes, were trying to play the game down in Canterbury's half, and maybe after that 20-minute spell they've decided to run the ball. I mean, let's see what happens from the scrum.
We're not putting up with this all night. You've got to listen to what I'm saying. I'm going to penalise. No, he's not biting. He's biting underneath the sternum, not on the back. Back you go, please.
Well, we've seen that look before. Just about every prop in the world who uses it when he feels aggrieved. But it's pretty stiff, that. It looked to me like the scrum hadn't gone down.
Presents Ben Blair with another opportunity. Blair taking the shorter kicks.
Paul Honus, of course, is one of our more officious referees. Very competent referee, generally. Sometimes a little too competent.
Well, I think he's played his part tonight, though, Murray. I think the game's has been open. He's made the right decision at the right time. That one there, obviously, the props disagreed with it. But, yeah, I think he's doing a good job so far.
And on that subject, actually, Colin Hawke, I thought, had a tremendous game in the second division final today.
Yes, congratulations to Bay of Plenty for winning the second division. Here's Ben Blair. Goal kicking has been first class so far, 20 points to 9.
So a little bit of music, a little bit of activity in the stand, but not much really. I look around and I see a lot of long faces. It's almost as though they can't believe that that they're behind on the scoreboard. The Canterbury crowd is so used to success here this year.
Oh, well. There on the Canterbury side, they've done well to recycle this. Mertens again, this time it's for Jonah. Can get up a bit of steam here. Gets past the first couple and sets it nicely for Spice. Fleming had to wait.
Hands off, Red. Thank you.
Again for Spice, taken the one by Soalialu. And shows his versatility by putting the left boot into this. Blair's boot is pretty much directly into touch.
It wasn't a bad kick actually by Soyalo, but good to see Jonah having a bit of a go, breaking the first tackle and the second, setting it up nicely.
Wellington go to Collins this time. Howell, O'Halloran. Quite happy to have a crack at the defence, Jason O'Halloran. Now Howell once more, up to Lomu. Standing still virtually when he got that. Turned over by Canterbury. So Caleb Ralph gets monstered across the touchline. Big tackle.
And players so aware, Jason Spice, quick thinker of course, but players are so aware of driving the opposition player into touch, therefore winning the line-out. Look at that, 7-2 line-outs to Canterbury.
Just off the ball, Norm Maxwell and David Howell, two former Northland players having a go at each other. It was a David and Goliath struggle and nothing eventuated.
Here's our mark. No, mark is here.
So 63% to Canterbury,
guys,
37.
Straight to Maxwell. Nobody really jumped at all. Mayer Hoffler. And looked a little knock on there, but yes, there was. Yeah, no, he got it right. Paul Honus didn't see it, but I think Paddy O'Brien did.
Yeah, I was right.
The first one was knocked back, and then the second hand was knocked forward.
I was right in line with that. It definitely went forward.
So it was interesting line out. No Wellington player jumped on that line out. But what a wonderful little attacking position. So Greg, what do you think will happen, left or right here?
Well, it wouldn't matter which way you go, Murray. You've got guns either way, but I just wonder if you're back Lomu again.
Well, maybe Umaga to the right. There's only two players to the right. There it is.
Yeah, they go to the right. And Cullen off. But overrunning interference. Wow.
And a correct call too. Again, I was standing right in front of that. And Umaga did take the defenders coming across who were trying to get Cullen.
So I guess he did run interference. Cullen, well, no one was going to stop him then.
Big penalty kick taken by Mertens. So back Canterbury go towards the Wellington 22.
It's a pretty tough one, that, isn't it, for a referee to make a decision on, where players run back because what they're running back for is to draw the defence, which is exactly what they're doing. The big question is, do they stop the line of the defending runner so he can't tackle, in that case, Cullen?
Another line-out loss. This time it's Canterbury who can't get their own ball, so Holwell heaves it away downfield. Vernon Barker and Blair. Waller's the first man up. Kick gets down as far as Collins. Hands it off to Holwell. Again, he pounds the kick down. Good work by Broomhall. Off to Justin Marshall. Forced to get onto his left boot. Good hands by Cullen. Straight into Daryl Gibson.
So it was great defence, Canterbury.
Well, they're renowned for it, aren't they? Holwell gets it wide for Soyalo. Fundamerva. And there's a problem that's plagued Wellington a bit during the season, as some big forwards get out there and don't have the skills to be there.
Well, it was certainly all on. This is the missed pass. Soyalo threw a good pass. It was received by a prop and then a hooker. There's a bit of speculation going on here.
Hewitt looking for Waller. Wellington have this one, although they knocked it on. Pretty willing in those lineouts, and I guess if the referee wanted to be really pedantic, he could penalise either side at any time.
That's right. That's exactly right. That's one of the problems, isn't it?
So here come Canterbury with Mertens up for Vernon Barker. Umaga tackling strongly.
wide on the ground, playing the ball.
Against Jason O'Halloran,
12 wide.
playing the ball on the ground.
Yes, he definitely did that. He was on his feet trying to recover the ball. He went down on the ground and continued to play it. Such a temptation, isn't it, when the ball's sitting there in front of you? It's sort of like that apple in the Garden of Eden.
It was a great shot there, wasn't it? It was obvious. Halloran was there, but then he went to deck and still tried to play it. But again, another opportunity for Ben Blair. And Canterbury, although there's a big lead in favour of Wellington, are just starting to get their game going slightly. And as we know, this Canterbury side play right to the 80th minute. So we're in for a big match in the second half.
Well, it's not really a big margin, 20 points to 9. The way rugby is today, with 7-point tries coming on a regular basis.
That's a third one for Ben Blair, another one to Mertens. Canterbury close it up as we count down towards half-time. 2 minutes to go till half-time. Oh, well, this time giving his own team the opportunity to get it back. Outstanding play, though, by Maxwell. Marshall pushing down the line as far as Lomu. Out to Cullen in centre field. Blair streaking across. A little kick and chase, but he's kicked it straight to Cullen. Caleb Ralph makes the tackle. Fleming off to Holwell. O'Halloran to Collins to Lomu. On the outside he goes. What a sight this is. Lomu, that Boonen Barker got well back to intercept. And that was timely. Wellington would have been in again for sure. Marshall to Mertens. Gets shut down. Now Greg Feek drops it off to Maxwell. Look forward.
Well, it's great scrambling ability by Canterbury, but also good defence by Wellington.
I called twice for hands to head fly away.
Canterbury might be a little bit lucky there. That pass from Feek looked decidedly forward.
Jonah probably had to keep on going in this situation. He's passed the tackle. Should have done the old over the top of Ben Blair like he did in the World Cup a few years ago against England. Mike Cat, I think it was, the recipient at that time.
There's Boonen Barker, chased by Van der Merwe. What a great effort. What a great effort from a prop forward.
Yes, well, probably the fastest against the slowest too.
Yeah, well, he tipped him into touch, and that brought down the curtain on the first half. And it's been a thrilling first half too in the First Division final. Wellington have scored a couple of tries. Canterbury have stayed in the game with penalties, and it's 20-12. Air New Zealand First Division final for the year 2000. Jade Stadium in Christchurch on a beautiful night. And Wellington have the lead by 20 points to 12. Some anxious looks in the Canterbury camp, but one thing they don't ever do is panic. And really are the ultimate professionals. And let's go sideline now. Their assistant coach, Steve Hansen, is with Greg.
Steve, behind on the scoreboard, what did you say to them at half-time?
Oh, it's just a matter of us hanging on to some ball and getting a wee bit more of it, Greg, really, and just being a little bit wiser with it and making sure that we stay believing in ourselves. We've been here before, so it's not all over yet.
Yeah, I've seen you go to the wire before and bounce back. There must be plenty of confidence in the side that they can come back with 80 minutes of rugby.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, it is an 80-minute game. We've got 40 minutes left, and you know, we've just got to be a little bit sharper with what we do with it and hang on to it a little bit better. You know.
Enjoy the second half.
Yeah, I hope so. Cheers.
Fairly relaxed approach, obviously very calm, self-assured. Steve Hansen, well, a great model, this Canterbury side. And if you doubt what he was saying, just think back 3 weeks to the Otago match when it was all Otago.
Kick-off in the second half is made. Up it goes for Jonah Lomu to get an early touch in the second spell. Spice has Holwell deep inside the 22. And as Mertens did before him, he bangs it away down that embankment touchline. As far as Caleb Ralph, Ben Blair, such a danger if he gets an opportunity. But Wellington have shut him down very quickly and have turned him over as well. Early ball for Wellington off a Canterbury take. Umanga nudging ahead with Gibson going back, but beautifully weighted by Tana Umanga. Well, you don't often see him in a kicking role, but that was done to precision.
It showed great vision, though, by Tana Umanga. The Canterbury defensive line had to come up when Umanga and Lomu and Cullen are free with the ball. The defensive line has to be flat and up on them. So they came up, Umanga assessed the situation and popped it over the top.
Hold here till my arm comes down.
Gone with the short line out, Canterbury. Maxwell does it well. Well, it's against Ruben Thorne. It's a technical one.
Wait. Here, once the line comes down, 2 hands, you must stand behind the goal line until the line out's finished. Goal line, please. Shot. Okay. Goal line, guys.
Well, he made the explanation was you had to stay behind the goal line. Very technical. Murray, you're speechless.
Not often. I couldn't quite understand. I couldn't hear him to start with, but I couldn't quite understand him either. So I think he's suggesting that there were players in 1 foot perhaps over the goal line, therefore effectively within 10 metres of the line out.
Off the post, first miss tonight. And Canterbury off the hook early in the second half. Mertens.
It's all right, gonna have it again, he crossed the line, he's having it again.
Can't jump over the line and charging it down, and that's precisely what Norm Hewitt did. Canterbury, though, have taken it smartly. They want the ball back. Mertens frees it up to Caleb Ralph. Looking to free the arms. Again, Wellington have got them up off the ground, and they've become past masters at this in the last couple of weeks. And this is effectively a turnover. It's Wellington's line-out ball.
Well, it's an upper body strength issue, isn't it? It's like holding the opponent up in the air, keeping him on his feet, and then just driving him into touch.
Waller with the clean take. Collins takes it to the setup. Spice for Soaliolo and Van der Merwe.
Hands off, let him play it. Yep, good hands
That's
on.
through. And Umanga takes a bit of a dive. Referee not that impressed. Canterbury still on a bit of strife here.
There it is.
Vernon Barker has tidied up. Marshall, Mertens, caught by Waller. Still there on the Canterbury side, living pretty dangerously here. And Marshall does the right thing in the finish and gets rid of it, but it's only as far as Cullen. They drop kicked one last week. Can't repeat it this week.
Well, keeps you in line with that drop kick. How'd you find that?
I think he had too much time. He did a lovely one last week. Too much time, and unfortunately, when he dropped it onto his foot, he completely messed it up. Maybe next time.
Mertens down to Jason Spice. Now Fleming, a former Canterbury player. Takes it into Canterbury territory. Spice now for Holwell. Umanga being well looked after, but Holwell is on the inside. Still there though for Collins. Again they set it nicely for Spice. Cullen. Now they're going to look to get some pressure on Blair. Umanga leads the charge, and it's been knocked on. Another near thing.
Well, Wellington have certainly had their opportunities in this game. So it was ruled that it was knocked by the Wellington player forward. So that's Tana Umaga. Callan, as so often does, seems to be there where the ball bounces up in the air to nail the try. On that occasion, not to be.
Canterbury trapped inside their 22.
Grips up. Thank you.
Good solid scrum. Mertens. Chased across again by Apiaki this time. Now Mayerhoffler. Well, they've had the opportunity to clear the line. Haven't managed to do it. Now Mertens is going to make sure that it at least goes somewhere. Ralph and Fleming, two of the quicker ones around. Ball is hacked back by Umaga.
Well, the crowd got a little bit excited there for Canterbury, because I can tell you it's they've been quiet over the last few minutes here. The Wellington crowd is starting a little bit more animated. They're certainly well outnumbered, but they believe something special might happen. We'll just have to wait and see.
Well, of course, Canterbury haven't really created any try-scoring opportunities yet in this game. Wellington have scored 2 and probably been unlucky on another couple of occasions at least. Canterbury yet to put it together.
Nice work again by Maxwell. Greg Feet inside the 22. Maybe this is a chance to create a scoring opportunity. Gibson in centre field. Look at the red and black jerseys get there quickly. Blackadder up the middle.
Hands off 6. Right there, here it is.
There it is for Justin Marshall.
Offside advantage.
Offside against Wellington. Broomhall on the charge. Advantage still applies. Now Mertens short to Gibson.
Still playing it.
Still playing the advantage. Nudged through by Marshall and easily covered.
Well, how long does that advantage go? How long do you play up the advantage? There's no set time, of course, on it. It's up to the discretion of the referee. To me, there have been 2 or 3 opportunities for Canterbury from the offence. So really it should have been all over. But Canterbury put it together this time. They had about 6 phases of play where they retained possession, particularly right in the centre of the field. So dangerous. Attackers lined out both sides of the ruck and maul. The name of their game.
The other thing to the Canterbury game that's so important is the quick ruck ball. When they have a breakdown, they go very, very quick indeed. So they need to get their hands on the ball first, but then they need to move it around. And they had Wellington stretched, but just it slowed down on the last ruck. They could have moved it. I think they may have had Wellington stretched on the terrace side.
And Coops, of course, the key to quick ruck ball is that your backs are running onto the ball and the defenders are backpedaling.
That's right, and when they do it, they look lethal. They just haven't been able to do it so far. And that's to the credit of this Wellington defence. It's very strong.
First points of the second half. The penalty goal by Ben Blair. And it's a 5-point final now. Wellington had their opportunities, weren't able to convert, and Canterbury come back and punish them. Canterbury have not been in front of this game so far. Again, Maxwell dominant at kick-off time. Marshall off to Mertens. And just nudging a little too far for his own liking. I'm sure he would have liked to have kept that in.
Well, it's so interesting to see Andrew Mertens, of course, playing in that pivotal position of first 5'8", with Cullen back at fullback, so he's very careful where he positions the ball. He doesn't want to give Cullen an opportunity. Well taken by Maxwell. It's a classic example of 2 hands on the ball, securing it with great support around him as he came down.
Morne van der Merwe down just at present and being looked at. Mike Edwards warming up on the sideline.
So he's obviously got a bit of a jaw problem.
Tyson Edwards, long-serving member of the Wellington side.
Yes, he's played tight head and loose head prop.
Hewitt. Spice to Umaga, at least it was Benisi. Short to Edwards. So he's in the game pretty smartly. Kevin Yates, thunderous tackle. Spice throws it to Lomu.
Let him play it. Hands off 3.
Right centre field. Howell. Skirting back is Blair. But Howell has read it very well indeed.
Another problem for Wellington. Kevin Yates is now down the other prop and doesn't look too good. There he is, receiving attention. Vandermerwe has just gone off and Edwards has gone on.
Well, he got the ball and the player at the same time. Kevin Yates, the ball just popped up. That's Philo Tiatia in the background, of course, is injured. So it was Norman Maxwell who made the effective tackle. Well, we're talking about Edwards playing both tight head and loose head for Wellington. So he's on the field thinking he'll be moving into tight head, and he may well be going into loose head. With Vandermerwe coming back.
It doesn't look good for Kevin Yates. He is holding his wrist. Maybe he's done something to his shoulder to try to take the pressure off, but looks as though he...
Yeah, well, I don't think he'll be coming back on the field, that's for sure.
Well, it looks like Wellington might be forced to send Shane Carter out there.
Yeah, but I don't think that's what they'll want, because that has 2 hookers in the front row, neither of whom have had much experience at prop, and it's not the time in a final to be thrust into that role.
Wait, fellas, wait up, guys. Let's start. Hey! Just settle down, guys. Same conditions apply. Let's hold the gap wide. Hold the gap and don't jump early. All right? Here we are. Same conditions apply. Hold your gap wide.
Maxwell again. Seems to be pretty much the sole target.
Okay, halfback is stationary now. Can we use it, please?
Marshall. Mertens. And Andrew Mertens relieves a little of the pressure. Wellington will be hoping that there aren't too many scrums in the near future. They'll be looking to get either Yates or Vandermerwe back. Now Spice frees it up to Holwell. O'Halloran Holwell again. Here comes Fleming on the burst. Not much depth on the ball though, Wellington.
Well, I think he was right. I think it was Umaga that went in, desperate to get the ball, but dived straight on the deck. So it was a good move, I thought. It didn't come to much. Fleming well tackled by Mauhofer on the outside. Copybook defence.
Hey guys, hey, contest the ball, not the player, okay? Not straight.
Mark Hammett looks back at Paddy O'Brien, but I think the thrower was at fault. That was clearly down the wrong line.
And so he gave the touch judge the big glare, did he, Nisbo?
Okay.
Now this will be interesting. Here's Norm Hewitt going into loose head prop.
We're in square, guys, in square. No locks, just crouch and hold.
It will be an interesting scrum.
Just wait. Engage. Grips up.
Oh, did all right.
Pretty useful job too, as Collins
Hands off now, 6 reds.
is overwhelmed. But they'll be happy enough with that. So Holwell pushing it downfield once more. Mertens coming forward. O'Halloran is there with him. Taken down by Carter. And Wellington have possession. Holwell. So Alialo again. And that's, again, takes Canterbury back towards their own 22.
Rodney Sorialo from the West Club in Wellington.
Catch your numbers, White, catch your numbers.
Pretty rugged stuff in the line-out, but Canterbury have survived it all right.
So Waller the culprit. You have to come from behind the last man's feet, of course, and be driving in tandem with someone.
That's history, that's history.
So the game is evenly poised.
Maxwell again, a dominant figure in the lineouts in this game. Marshall tried to slip it to Vernon Barker and it went forward. Well, it's tight down the blind side. There's been nothing much there.
No, it was a knock forward, so it's a scrum. Well, it was passed forward and knocked on.
Here we are, guys, yep. Nice solid scrum. And square on the loose head, Red, please.
So Norm Hewitt's second scrum on the loose head position.
No, engage. Sorry, guys, yeah. Number 22. Hey, just leave off.
So Wellington really have got a makeshift front row.
Settle down.
They've got Tyson Edwards on the tight head, which
Come out here, fellas. Front
really
rows,
is
come
not
out
his
here.
preferred position. He's a loose head prop preferred.
Let's just, hey, let's just settle the chatter down at scrum time. All we're wanting is good scrums at scrum time. Less chatter, let's get on with it. Let's go. All right? Wide scrum. Crouch and hold. Crouch and hold. Wait for the call. Wait for the call. Engage. Screw. Wait. Easy. Back off. Back off. Back off. Thank you.
Well, there's a bit of niggle in those front rows, there's no doubt about that.
On their feet. Here we are.
This is Feek, of course,
Come on, guys.
who was somewhat of a surprise selection in this game today. Hewitt has been preferred over Feek for most of the NPC.
Crouch and
The
hold.
suggestion was that he's been brought in the scrum to upset the Wellington front row.
Stay in bounds. Use it wide. That's good.
Not a bad sort of a scrum. Makeshift as in comes Cullen at high speed. Here again on the Wellington side. Collins. Standing wide again is Soialo, showing his strength over the 10-metre line. Again for Jason Spice, Holwell, for O'Halloran, Apiaki. Oh, that is huge contact. Lomu.
Hands away. Roll off, Reds.
Pops out again.
Ball's gone.
Spice looking to probe in close. Canterbury
Hands off.
are tough to
Hands
beat
off,
in there.
go back.
Holwell with the Fleming waiting. Fires it off to Holwell. Has to tidy up.
Tidy up, going backwards.
And Canterbury getting this. Wellington were very much on the back foot.
Yes, Canterbury defence, huge, tremendous really. Offensive defence for sure, putting the heat right on Wellington. So that's a great charge by Apiaki. He's a big, strong man. He always breaks the advantage line. That's one thing about his game. But he ran into trouble that time.
Morne van der Merwe is back on as well, and Shane Carter off. And just an update on Kevin Yates. It's a shoulder problem, as we understand, and he won't be back.
So van der Merwe goes into tight head. That's Kevin Yates. Looking fairly disappointed, I would think. And Edwards moves across to loose head.
The last 5 minutes, things have been getting a little bit testy. We've had too much verbal stuff from players at one another. Let's just cut the chatter down to the three of us. Okay? Us three. All right, let's get on with it. Thank you. Settle it down. Let's play rugby. Here's our mark.
Right, the TAB was paying pretty good money on a draw here, and who knows?
Yep,
I think it was about $23 for a draw.
Ball. Just wait for the
This
call.
game might go right to the wire.
Sounds like you're on, Coops.
Sorry?
Sounds like you're on. Away it goes to Andrew Merton. Shot to Gibson. Met head on by Brad Fleming. Ball has been turned over. No, it's controlled there by Mark Hammett for Canterbury. Still there on the Canterbury side.
Turned over Wellington's side.
O'Halloran has to go in and play halfback. Away for Cullen, having a go. Christian Cullen. He's got Umaga with him. Short to Umaga. And support there from O'Halloran. And as they so often do, Wellington run half the length of the field.
Well, that's a classic example of a high-class back spotting a weakness in the opposition backline. Cullen saw a forward in the backline, and that's where he targeted his run. Very hard for any forward anywhere in the world to keep up with a Christian Cullen. So here it is. There was Norm Maxwell, in fact. Just sheer total gas, and this was power of Umaga to keep the ball alive. And as usual, there he is, Jason O'Halloran, one of the most constructive rugby players in New Zealand rugby, always finishing, scoring tries. That's just another one to add to the list.
The other thing about Wellington, they're always looking to get into play, as we see Holwell land the goal. Wellington players, when they break, they always try to get in support. You can just see them hungry to get there, and that was the man, number 12, Jason O'Halloran, who finished off a fine team try.
Well, it was all started from a turnover, so crucial turnovers in rugby. And it went both ways in that little facet of play.
Brilliant finisher, Jason O'Halloran. And under the bar he goes.
And news from the Wellington bench, Brad Fleming off, Alama Yeremia on.
Lost forward by Vernon Barker.
Well, that's an interesting move, isn't it, Coops? Because Yeremia coming on is obviously a defensive move. Well known for his defence and his organisation in midfield, coming back into... Remember, this is the All Black Test centre who's been sitting on the bench. What an amazing backline Wellington have when they can afford to do that. So they bring Yeremia back on into the centre defensive role and Umaga back to the wing.
Murray, also think Brad Fleming may have taken a decent sort of a knock earlier on, and I just wonder if he's not quite himself, a bit dazed, and that's probably why Yeremia's gone on. Yeremia's got that heavy heat sock on to keep his hamstring nice and warm. He's having a few problems with that over the last couple of weeks.
Yep.
What a man to bring off the bench. Last first-class game in New Zealand, and here's the record. Makes pretty impressive reading, doesn't it? 30 test matches, and of course he played a few test matches for Western Samoa as well, notably one against the All Blacks. Wellington scrum holds up as Holwell rips it out to Yeremia, going wide to Lomu. They took his legs from under him and he lost it forwards.
Lost forward. Yes, he rolled it forward in the tackle. Scrum. Yes, that's right. Good call.
It's unusual for Jonah Lomu to lose his feet.
Yeah, it was Ben Blair was the man who popped up there on the left wing as well to make the crucial tackle.
Not that easy to take Jonah Lomu down. Ben Blair struggling back to position.
Well, it's been a big test of Ben Blair today. There's been a consistent number of up and unders targeting this area, and also to have players like Cullen, Lomu and Umaga running it at you as the last line of defence must be a fairly frustrating realisation.
Leo the line. Well, they let him on a Jade Stadium, in direct contrast to what happens at Eden Park.
Yes, well, Leo's fairly animated. A fairly animated line at the moment.
Guys, steady, please. We can't put the ball in if your scrum's moving away.
Morno van der Merwe now across on the loose head side. So it's a rearranged Wellington front row.
Good on your feet, but they get on their feet. Let's crouch and
I don't
hold.
quite understand that unless Van der Merwe, the injury that he has is perhaps to the left side of his neck or something.
Marshall delivers off to Broomhall.
Come back, White.
Now Andrew Mertens looking for Mark Meyerhoffler, like Iramia in his last game in New Zealand after a long career. Blackadder takes it down. Now Mertens again. Canterbury trying to get something going. They might just get something going here, but Robertson is taken down. Apiaki has to release. Mertens again. Shovels into centre field. O'Halloran reads it. Off to Waller. Now it's to Lomu. And the big guy against Vernon Barker. He's got rid of him once. Can he do it again? Yes! Jonah Lomu, only one player in the world can score a try like that.
Well, the big man makes his moment again, makes himself felt. He's fired up, he enjoyed that. It's the buzz of rugby to score a try, no doubt about it. He loves them. But have a look at this. Jason O'Halloran, so constructive as we spoke. Beautiful long passes. That Dion Waller, I think. And Jonah Lomu against Vernon Barker. The whole world wants to see this one. Vernon Barker with supreme gas, and Lomu with more power than half a rugby team on occasions.
Should have seen the look on the Wellington faces, the players walking back to the 22. They just were staring at Jonah thinking, how did you do it? And here it is. That's the fend and the speed of Vernon Barker, but look at the determination. We've seen that so many times.
Yeah, you don't often see Jonah Lomu react that way so expressively. He knew it was a beaut. That was one of the best. Because this man's got real speed, as we all know. How many players in world rugby could have two cracks at him? This would be about the only one I could think of anyway, Vernon Barker. And he had a real go, tried to drive in at his hips, and really it was the big, strong right hand fend that just kept him off, and the momentum and the power that took him over the line. And don't you just love it?
What a sight that is. Howell from the sideline, and what a kick. 34 points to 15. It's a long way back now for Canterbury as Lomu gets his second of the night.
Well, the Wellington factor is back in New Zealand rugby. They've been missing for well over a decade. Of course, in the early 80s, they used to fire lots of shots, and they haven't done so for a while. Last year, they were finalists, and this year, they're finalists again.
Jason O'Halloran goes to the sideline.
Get him in the air.
Brad Fleming is back. So Oyalo. And the ball lost forward.
So on the sideline, Dave Hewitt warming up, looking to come on. And he's going to replace Greg Feek.
Dave Hewitt has been outstanding.
Your scrum, Reg, your scrum.
And
Let's wait for the call,
Greg Feek goes to the sideline.
Thanks. Wait for the call.
Dave Hewitt,
It's okay.
big chance to be named in one of those two sides tomorrow by the All Black selectors.
Oh, most certainly. He's just had a superb year, Hewitt.
Broomhall. Mertens can't hang on, but he's managed to get it.
Let us go, thanks.
Blair in control.
Let it go, 15, let it go. There it is.
Turned over again. Everything going right for Wellington. Howell going wide for Umaga. Supporters there in the form of Iramia. It's on the Wellington side again. Spice. Howell. Again, they've got a line-up which includes a few of the forwards. Too many of them. And Jonah has to tidy up and wait till the forces gather. Van der Merwe hands it back. Howell. Mertens looking to launch. Not a bad looking kick. Coming down near the 22. Mertens contesting. Wellington's lost it forward.
Well, it's helter-skelter rugby now. Canterbury are going to throw everything they have at it. This hugely successful side isn't used to losing. They've played Wellington once only this year in the NPC, the very first game, and it was points to Wellington. That, of course, was played at the Wellington Stadium.
Nice and close.
Big scrum for Canterbury here. They're going to set the platform, and they need to get Vunnenbacher in from the blind side to create some opportunity out wide.
For those nostalgic supporters of rugby, have a look at those terraces. You won't see that again. It'll be the last time.
Pressure on the Canterbury scrum.
Straight up. Wait. Where you go.
Justin Marshall went to take it quickly.
Well, they really have to score a try now to put themselves back in the game. So it's going to be the kick for the line out.
And throwing him to the line out for Canterbury will not be Mark Hammond, it'll be Matt Sexton just coming on to replace him now.
Robbie Deans going to his bench now with less than 14 minutes left. Matt Sexton.
Hard to believe that Canterbury are tryless.
Norm Maxwell. Now Justin Marshall releases off the Mertens. Short to Daryl Gibson. Now they've got an opportunity, Canterbury. Mertens, and knocked down by Dion Waller, but it was offside against Wellington anyway, way back in front of the posts. Now Canterbury might decide to put a scrum down here.
Well, I would think so. I don't think they'd be happy with just getting 3 points. They really have to score. Well, they have to score for the morale too, for the spirit of the side, so they can believe that yes, they can still win this game, they can pull it out of the fire. I mean, they're the sort of team that can. We all know that, we've seen them. They did a similar thing against Otago, won it in the last couple of minutes.
Marshall goes to the left.
That's all right. Go out. Come out.
Now the remainder of them out to the right.
Come out, 8, leave it!
Goal line just a metre or so away to Mertens, and Canterbury have cracked the defence finally.
Well, Andrew Mertens, so easy when it's done so well. A great move. They had a ruck, 2 rucks in fact. They set up the first one, brought back the second one. They had 2 points of attack, split the defence. In fact, took all the defenders out. As you can see, Marshall was looking for the try himself through the last 2 defenders, and Andrew Mertens thought, well, that's the easiest try I'm going to get for a while. But that's what happens when you do it well. Well, I just can't help but comment about the crowd around the commentary position. I mean, that time I saw them leap in the air. I even saw a couple of guys with one finger up as though they'd done it and they were going to clean out Wellington. Maybe it's the signal they needed. It certainly got them back in the game. 12 points in arrears. There's still a good 12 minutes. And a lot will happen. A lot will unfold in that 12 minutes.
And never dead and buried this Canterbury team.
No, it was off-white.
Ball is on the Wellington side though. Holwell. Plenty of kicking in this match. Wellington looking to put pressure on.
Lost forward.
Umanga's the first man up, but he's lost it forward. Canterbury bring it away. Broomhall.
Go away, 1-5. Hands off.
Marshall, Mertens looking to free up Vunnenbacher. Here he is, the speedster. Holwell makes the tackle. Now Marshall frees it up with a good lineup. Mertens running to the line. Mertens all the way. Couldn't quite get it. And snapped up by Christian Cullen. Well, that looked all over.
Well, it was about 8 on 3, I think. There was so many backs spread out along the left-hand side of the track. It all started with Vunnenbacher slipping away here, just leaving defenders groping. Well held up in the end by Lomu. But look at this, look at the line-up out to the left. Wellington have 3 defenders. And Andrew Mertens just about did it all himself.
Well, that's why Andrew Mertens is so good running with the ball. He moves onto it and just finds the space, and he side through that gap. Outstanding play by the Canterbury first 5. Chris Jack is now coming on, and so is Milton Noamu for Wellington. So the changes are being made by the respective coaches.
Time's on.
10 minutes to go. Canterbury score again shortly. It'll be all on.
It's all on anyway.
Chris Jack. Good take early on.
It's gone now, it's gone now. Hands away.
Inside the 22. It's there for Justin Marshall.
Well, this is 2 weeks in a row we've been talking about that sort of incident. It's hard to understand how that can't be part of the game.
Scott Robertson takes it up. 15 metres out from the line. Matt Sexton throws himself at the defence. Now Todd Blackadder.
Hands away, White. Tackler. White tackler, hands away.
Canterbury
Come back, White.
storming in back into the game.
Run it over.
Mertens away for Blair.
Come out. Come out.
Still in control of it. Goal line, you can see that. Just a few metres away. Mertens again. Slips it to Blackadder. They get another one.
Well, I think it's fair to say you're never right off a Canterbury side. Not this sort of side that's got such character. Andrew Mertens doing it all again, all by himself just about. And there's Captain Fantastic, Todd Blackadder. Well, isn't this what the Canterbury crowd needed and wanted and lusted for? And the goal goes over and we've got a great game on our hands.
Well, if they were quiet before, I can tell you, they're certainly not now, as the hero goes over, hurts himself in the process, puts his body on the line, and Canterbury are back.
They're back in a big way. They can close this up to 5 points. That's what it is. 34 points to 29 in a thrilling First Division final.
Milton Namu's on now for Wellington, and so is Paul Steinmetz.
Todd Blackadder is still down behind the goal line.
And Dallas Seymour is on in his place.
So players come and go, tries being scored everywhere. The captain is down. The atmosphere is pulsating, to say the least, as the drama continues to unfold.
Who do we want off, mate? Tana Umanga. Tana.
Ricky Flutie has gone on too. Players coming and going all over the place.
Who do you want off? Tana, shoot Tana.
Tana Umanga's going off. He's been holding his eye. I think he's having a bit of trouble with his vision. So Ricky Flutie on as well.
Well, I'd say that'll be a big loss to Wellington, losing Tana Umanga. It may only be a temporary replacement.
7 minutes left as Marshall lines this up. All on in the last 7 minutes of the game.
Well, no doubt there'll be a kick here.
Here it comes from Andrew Mertens. Spins it down as far as Jonah Lomu.
Well, Jonah not renowned for his up and unders.
Gets there to barrel Justin Marshall. Mertens goes again. Howell is held back this time. He's got Cullen there with him. Blair coming across just near the 22. Tidied up by Ricky Flutie.
Holding wide, forward.
Now it's Mertens again. It's a game on a chessboard at the moment as Mertens plays force back inside the 22. Flutie with his left boot. Down as far as Dallas Seymour. Played in the final for Wellington last year. Seymour with plenty of pace.
Come out. On your feet, use your feet.
5 metres in Canterbury territory. Just over 6 minutes left. Blair for Meyerhoffler. The loose forwards are there to grab him. Kupu Vanisi. That's the 10-metre line in Canterbury territory. Canterbury with all the possession. Voonan Barker, who could spark it from anywhere.
Roll away.
Marshall Sets them alight again. Matt Sexton. He was playing advantage, but it's now over. So Marshall. Thrilling finale as Mertens fires it off to Gibson. Lomu smashes him. And a big tackle. Chris Jack has it. They're still on halfway. Sexton goes again. Marshall probing blindside. And this time they do run out of room. Well, 9 phases. Not a lot of ground made, but they held on to it.
But it's great intensity of both sides here. Canterbury, unbelievable desperation, determination to retain possession, drive, make the advantage line, support for the ball carrier, and Wellington equal to the task in defence. It's wonderful. Look at that tackle. Jonah Lomu, that's what you call a spot tackle.
Yes, he's had a big game tonight, Jonah Lomu. Tana Umaga back on and Ricky Flutie off. So the experience of Umaga could be needed over the last 5 minutes.
Hewitt looking for Namu. Waller slips it to Spice. Collins. Halfway line. Hewitt delivered it off to Spice. Ball knocked on though by Canterbury. Referee playing the advantage though. Spice lobs it for Steinmetz. Here's Steinmetz coming pretty smartly. Wow. That's how close it is. Canterbury back in possession with Vernon Barker. And Lomu shepherds him across the touchline. Well. Paul Steinmetz.
Interesting one with Paul Steinmetz, actually, because it looked like he'd actually kicked the ball ahead as he tried to regather. Let's have a look. Bad bounce. Yes, in fact, he dropped it onto his feet, so it actually wasn't a knock-on at all. You see it clearly here. Yes, that's right. I wondered that the first time. However, the game rolls on, as does the drama.
Wait for the call. Dunkirk, both Dunkirk. We'll start again. Crouch and hold. Engage. Thank you, Hart. No, we slipped. They both slipped. Both slipped. All right. Concentration.
We're still really battling to understand why Van der Merwe is on the loose head side of the scrum, as he's a specialist tight head and Edwards is a specialist loose head.
That's better. Thank you.
Well, Edwards has probably played just about as much tight head as loose head in the last few years, I guess.
Drama at Jade Stadium. Daryl Gibson takes it to the 10-metre line.
Thanks, buddy.
This resilient Canterbury team, they just keep coming. Driving tackle. Made by Collins. Mertens stabs it in behind Lomu. Clever kick.
Well, the immaculate Andrew Mertens always appears to be calm and calculated. Viewed the situation, can see Lomu up. Simply place the ball end over end. And now they're deep inside the Wellington 22. This is the line-out they wish to turn over, of course. So Canterbury's intention is to put huge heat on the Wellington line-out here. And if they turn over, they just about want to put money on them, they'll score a try, even if it took 15, 16, 17 phases.
Dallas Seymour back on, place of Todd Blackadder. Blackadder not wanting to come off, but I think the medics have tried to get him off with a bang to the head.
Hewitt finds his man. Wellington have control of this. They'll need to keep it moving. Spice just angles it in field a wee bit, but Holwell has got up quickly. Couldn't quite stop Vernon Barker, but Suayalo did. Justin Marshall goes short to Mertens. Beautiful hands from Ben Blair. He really needed to pick that up. There was nothing much in behind. Now Daryl Gibson, taken down by Noamu. Mertens pushing it through. Caleb Ralph getting back. Umanga's there as well. And a real scramble. Real heart in the mouth stuff as we count down. About a minute and a half left.
So it tries what they want. Andrew Mertens, what a beautiful kick once again. Umaga having enough just to get back. And the desperate defence. Wellington throw into this line out. They'll be looking for a good one. They're having a chat about it just to make sure that they know where it's going. As the clock ticks on, looks like Vunnenbach has done his day as well. And on comes another Pacific Island international from Samoa, this one. Sualo.
So many quality players coming and going. Hewitt finding Waller. Wellington looking to tie this up with about a minute to go. Carried downfield by Hewitt. Spice. Waiting is Blair. Canterbury possibly their last chance. Mertens fires it off. Caleb Ralph. Closed down just in Wellington territory. Greg Somerville. Now they get rid of it again. Mertens. Wide to Thorne. Lowered by Umaga. Now Matt Sexton. Canterbury trying everything. Blair, a danger. Runs into Cullen, who's up very flat on the line. Gibson. Wellington having to make tackle after tackle. Marshall again. Crack at the defence by Robertson. And it's played on the ground.
Off your feet, 15, playing the ball on the ground.
So this will have to be a tap penalty to Canterbury. A penalty's no good. Full time's up on the clock. So this will be another one of their moves, or will they go for a line out?
One line out left, said Paul Honus.
What a kick. Well, here it is. What a way to finish the NPC final. Absolutely sensational.
Canterbury one jumper down, having Blackout off the field. Look for Chris Jack though. He's the main line-out man.
So Chris Jack, the will of the world, the Canterbury world anyway, is right on your shoulders here.
Incredible tension at Jade Stadium. Sexton's throw, finding Jack. Now they have the crack at the line. Playing advantage. Still a chance here for Canterbury.
Still playing advantage.
Justin Marshall looking to organise the troops. Still time for one more.
Goal line.
Well, he called it for collapsing the maul from the line out.
Goal line. Goal line. Come back.
So here it is. The last throw of the dice for Canterbury, the tap penalty. Let's have a look. They're splitting up the defence.
Comes right down to this.
Up to you guys.
They've probably practiced it many times.
He's got to touch the ball with the foot. Hey, hey. Wait.
Now
Touch
he
the ball
goes.
in. Hands off.
Marshall. They've got it up off the ground.
Seaman, come out. Hands off.
It's a maul. Turnover.
No. You're out offside.
Another penalty.
Okay. Touch judge said you kicked the ball away. Just a caution. All right. I put my hand in the pocket to see what he said. No more silly penalties from here. All right.
So this is it. This is the NPC for both teams, this tap penalty. Although they've had about 3 or 4 opportunities, you've got to pay tribute to the Wellington defence.
No.
Now the defence comes
That's all right.
thundering up.
Roll away now, White. There's the ball.
Ball is still there though on the Canterbury side.
Get out. Come out, team. Come out.
Slowly this time for Marshall. Hesitation, but he gets it away now. Dave Hewitt has a crack at the line, lays it back beautifully. Mertens, and tipped down by Dion Waller.
Yeah, that's all right.
And it's called deliberate.
That's all right. Under control.
Well, that's the judgment call, isn't it? Whether it's an intercept, an attempt at an intercept, or whether it's intentionally knocked down.
You've already been cautioned. You've already been cautioned for kicking the ball away. Deliberate knock on.
Oh, now Wellington now down to 14 men.
Well, this makes it harder to defend, obviously.
Well, that was looking like a try out the grandstand side.
Unbelievable penalty count in the second half. 10 penalties to Canterbury, 1 to Wellington.
Here they go again, Canterbury. Still ticking down to the end of the game.
Here it is. Hold back.
Still got it there. Mertens, change of direction. Meyerhoffler held up.
Let him play. Hands off, two! Hands off! Here it is, hands off, two whites!
Still on the Canterbury side for Justin Marshall.
White, two, let it go!
Trying to rip it out. Meyerhoffler.
Let him play it!
Taken by Soialo. 44 minutes as play continues. Canterbury need the try. Somerville.
Let him play it, get away, White!
Cullen trapped in the maul.
Hands off! Use your feet, get your hands off, White!
Slowly but surely, there it is.
Playing advantage for the hands.
Playing advantage again, so there'll be another penalty if nothing comes from this. Could go on forever. Marshall. Sualo. Advantage is over. And it's tied up. The game is over! It's 14 long years since they last won the NPC. But Wellington start the new millennium in the best possible way.
Well, it was a game that had absolutely everything from the start to the end. It started with a try. It finished with the most unbelievable desperation on attack Canterbury, on defence Wellington. Wellington showed the character and the resilience that makes championship winning sides. It's a question that everybody has asked in this country. Do they have it deep down, that ability to have the consistency? They are well known for their strike power, second to almost no team in the world. What a back three. But their forwards stepped up today. They matched the Canterbury forward pack, 7 All Blacks in the Canterbury forward pack. Wellington forwards played their part. It has been a tremendous game of rugby, and as you can see, the absolute ecstasy of victory.
Plenty of emotion out there. Wellington are the winners of the First Division in the year 2000. 34 points to 29. Nice stuff there from Dallas Seymour and Mike Edwards. Well, it was a fitting game for a final. They've come a long way to watch this game. They've waited a long time to see it happen, and it finally has.
Well, there's been a lot of loyal Wellington supporters that have travelled around the country over the last 10 years for naught, and they've finally got what they have been waiting for all these years.
Let's go down sideline, Greg Cooper with Mark Meyerhoffler.
Well, Mark, it's been a big career for you over the years, and not quite the win you wanted. You're away overseas. What's your feeling at the moment?
Oh, just proud to play for Canterbury. Didn't finish the way we wanted it, but boys dug in deep, so I can't ask for any more. Had a good time.
It went right to the wire, didn't it? It was a tremendous game of rugby, and it's befitting for this, you know, the showpiece of New Zealand rugby, the Provincial Rugby, to finish like this.
Yeah, definitely. Wellington's been the 14 all year. It was a hard game. That's what you want for finals, so can't ask for anything else.
Go and enjoy the occasion, the last game for you, and join up with your teammates.
Sweet. Thanks.
One of the masterminds behind it all, Graham Murray. A lot of planning, a lot of hard work's gone into this, Murray.
A lot of planning and a lot of in-depth thinking too, without any shadow of doubt. Well, it's been his third year, Graham Murray. He started slowly like all new coaches do. Second year, much more success. And now finally the third year, he gets the victory that everybody dreamed of.
And one of the heroes, Jason O'Halloran, is down with Greg.
Well, Jason, I won't keep you long because you want to join your teammates. Big occasion, a great night for rugby, great night for Wellington.
Yeah, huge for us. It's great to send the armour off like this, and just for all us guys have been trying, and through all the bad times and all the negative publicity and that and all the ribbing we get around the country, good to stand up and be counted tonight, and I was just so proud to be part of it.
You've had the good times, you've had the bad times. This must rank as one of the best for you.
Oh, absolutely the best by a mile. Never experienced anything like this. We particularly come to somewhere like Jade Stadium and win, and just the guts there at the end for the last 5 minutes, just outstanding.
the team spirit. There must be something special here. Norm Hewitt keeps talking about you come into these matches and you're going to win, and you keep doing it.
Yeah, Norm's a real confident guy. He's instilled that in the team. You know, it's hard not to get depressed in Wellington at times, but he's trying to put a positive spin even when we're struggling mid-season, and all credit to Norm. He's a great skipper and he's done us really well this year.
Well, Jason, your teammates are heading over there. I think you should join them, and well done. Great game by yourself.
Right, thanks, mate.
Joyous scenes as the Wellington players go over to the embankment. Only a small number of supporters. They've made plenty of din though. Smiles all round. Wellington have won their 4th NPC title. The wee fellow that led the Wellington side out with Norm Hewitt, isn't he just delighted to?
So the Canterbury players walking round thanking their crowd. They look disappointed, but at the end of the day, their trophy cabinet's pretty jolly full.
Well, it's been a great season for Canterbury. They came within a hair's breadth of winning the treble. Super 12 title, Ranfurly Shield in the bag, and just held out by Wellington. Now Coops is on the sideline working hard, this time speaking with Scott Robertson.
Well, Scott, Grant Nisbet just mentioned about the Super 12 title, the Ranfurly Shield. It's been a great year for Canterbury Rugby, and it was very close. It nearly went your way tonight.
Yeah, it was a good season. To leave it on this note, it's disappointing for us, but, you know, good on Wellington. They played some awesome football out there and made, you know, good care of our mistakes, and it's the way it goes sometimes.
You looked as though you may have been out of the game, but the Canterbury fighting spirit was there right to the end, and as I mentioned, so close.
Yeah, we never have any doubts in our ability, and obviously Wellington didn't have any doubts in theirs, so that's what finals are all about, and coming into it, it was anyone's on the night, so yeah, it was unreal to play. And
got anything to say about this great crowd you've got down this way?
It's awesome to be a part of this sort of culture and tradition, and I'm glad the supporters will, you know, they'll come out in the next years, and hopefully, but just so they stay humble and awesome. And can I just say a few thanks to Mum and Dad for coming down, Mum and Joe, and everyone in Mount Maunganui and Sumner. So thanks for the support. Cheers.
Yes, it is a big family, isn't it? This Canterbury, this lineup. You see at half time, you know, arms around each other and enjoying the moment. So that is special, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, we haven't felt this side of the coin before, eh? Like we haven't actually. Yeah. It's a funny feeling, but we just got to keep our heads high and just come back strong next year and do as much work or even more work we'll probably have to now to be more competitive next year and hopefully retain the Super 12.
Well done, Scott.
Thank you. Cheers.
They've got some real class in the Canterbury side. As Scott Robertson said, they hadn't been on that side this season. And so it's not easy to take, to stand there and watch the opposition celebrating, but it's Wellington's night tonight.
Well, it's good to see also, Nisbet. I'm just looking at the crowd. There've been a number that have turned around and sort of given us the thumbs up, you know, because they're a gracious crowd in defeat, they appear. And so often crowds aren't when they lose. I guess, of course, they are well aware that they've got a wonderful rugby side that has just achieved so much in the last couple of years and will continue to do so.
Kevin Yates with the crook shoulder, but he can still smile. There's Dave Rennie.
Well, he's feeling pretty bulletproof at the moment, I'd imagine. He's definitely grown and grown with this position, Dave Rennie. Pretty upfront, direct, open character.
A lot of the crowd have stayed here at Jade Stadium, to their credit.
So there it is. That's what that battle of attrition was all about.
Interesting too, Murray, as we look at Morné van der Merwe. Wellington struggled in the front row with injury. Wellington have now won it 4 times. 1978, 1981 and 1986. And here's a man that we bade farewell to tonight, Alama Iramia with Coops.
Well, Lomu, you didn't get the whole game, but you got out there. What a feeling, what a way to finish for you in New Zealand rugby.
Absolutely, man. It was great. It was a great feeling, eh? The boys really, by the time I got on, you know, it was all done. A bit nervous towards the end there, but I was just really happy for the boys.
The announcements or the presentation's happening soon, but you've got something to say to a few people.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank everybody out there, especially through New Zealand, especially Wellington, and just for my special mate Richard Whitey. Boys, say thank you for the letter. You're a legend, mate. Thanks a lot.
Lomu, thanks for everything you've done for New Zealand rugby, Wellington rugby. We've certainly enjoyed every moment, so well done. Good luck overseas.
Excellent. Thanks a lot. Thank you, mate.
Well, there's been incredible clashes, Wellington Canterbury over the years. I think that currently people think of the recent form of Wellington, but it's incredible. They've played each other 150 times. Wellington have won 78 and Canterbury 63.
Standing by now for the presentation. And it'll be a long time, I'm sure, before the smiles come off the faces of some of these guys. Norm Hewitt hasn't always been plain sailing this season. After that match at North Harbour, when they were completely annihilated, they had to sit down and rethink the whole season.
Well, that's one of the wonderful things about competitions that are as intense as this competition is, that there's no right or wrong way, and if it's not working one way, they have to, you know, work out what is another way we can do this and be more successful, and that's what the Wellington team have done. But haven't they grown with their success, their confidence, without a doubt, but also their united determination? But it's a big moment for some of these players. There's, at the end of every season, there are players that will never play again, and those players will be sitting back tonight reflecting on their career or their period with the team, the respective side that they are with. And, you know, there's a big question mark for sure on Norm Hewitt, and obviously Alama Uramia has already signalled that he's moving off. And no doubt there are a couple of others that I don't know about. There's a South African there that may end up going back. There's Philo, the great servant of Wellington Rugby, who of course broke his arm. It's good to see that that's out of the cast now. I'm not sure whether that means he's available for selection for France, but...
Right, time now for the presentation. The President of the New Zealand Rugby Union, Andy Dalton. Here's Daryl Gibson.
I'd like to congratulate Wellington on a splendid effort tonight. It was a good game of rugby, and you fully deserve your win, so well done. To the Canterbury supporters, we'd like to thank you very much for all your support during the year. You've been brilliant. We really appreciate all the support, so thanks very much. Also, to all those players, management who have been involved with the Canterbury side, also like to thank you for your input this year. It's been particularly great, and we really appreciate all that work. To the wives and partners, thanks very much for your support throughout the season. Can't do it without your support. Finally, to the Canterbury public, keep supporting us. We'll be back next year, and we couldn't do it for you tonight, but we'll try.
Popular captain of the Canterbury side this season, Daryl Gibson.
Ladies and gentlemen, can we have a big round of applause, please, for the entire Canterbury rugby team.
Well, it's
now to give a big round of applause, please, to our match officials for this evening. The referee, of course, was Paul Hunt. And on the touchlines, Paddy O'Brien and Steve Walsh.
Well, it's pretty hard to win on the road, and Wellington have achieved that.
Norm Hewitt, the New Zealand Trans Tasman and South West Pacific, to make the trophy presentation and also award the trophy to the winning captain, Norm.
Thank you. As always, the First Division final of the Air New Zealand NPC has shown the best rugby in the world and given us a great finish to our wonderful season. It certainly was a thrilling game and certainly a thrilling finish at the end there. A superb effort from both Canterbury and Wellington. I'd like to congratulate all players for their great sportsmanship and, of course, teamwork. It's been a great 25th anniversary competition with lots of exciting moments which have been enjoyed by the people right throughout New Zealand. On behalf of all of us at Air New Zealand, I'd like to thank everyone, from the players, the referees, the officials, to the New Zealand Rugby Union, and of course, you people out there, the fans, for the commitment and enthusiasm which we have seen this year. It has been a great celebration of New Zealand rugby, and one that bodes well for the future. As always, there must be a second place winner. What can I say, but Canterbury, it was a great game, well played, and congratulations. You fought hard, particularly at the end there. And to the winners of the Air New Zealand NPC Division Trophy, Wellington. Congratulations on what's been a magnificent victory. The Lions certainly roared, and it most definitely is Wellington's night. Congratulations again to Norm and the team. Well done, guys. You played tremendously.
Now, ladies and gentlemen, to accept the trophy on behalf of the Wellington team, can I call Norm Hewitt to the podium, please?
Triumphant moment for Norm Hewitt.
Now I'd like Norm to say a few words.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's something that gives me great honour to be able to stand here this evening and hold the trophy aloft with a good friend, Alama, and the team who've tried so hard throughout the season, and I've worked really, really hard, and it's absolutely huge to be able to celebrate that with them. It's a first for a lot of us. It's a first for Wellington for a long time, and I'm really proud of these guys. They've done it really well.
Well, that seems to be the end of it for the Norm Hewitt speech. But it's Leo the Lions night here at Jade Stadium in Christchurch. Their first NPC title since 1986 has made a lot of people very happy as Wellington have taken the honours at Jade Stadium and the title by 34-29.
Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take the full medal